Hello, this is Crypto Neptune, and I'm on to talk about should there be caution or concern with regards to post chain, as that's been kind of the narrative that's been kind of tossed around on various social media platforms. So we're going to dive into that, and we're also going to look at PulseDrip and H2O and kind of how post chain is kind of directly impacting those particular projects. Remember, nothing I say is financial advice, and you should always do your own research. And thank you to those who like my videos, who leave comments, and those who have recently subscribed to the channel. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. So, what's going on with PostChain? With PostChain, as you can see, currently is sitting at a healthy $447 million market cap. Now, there has been some pullback over the last 24 hours. Looks like it's 5.13%, but over the last few days, there's been pullback on the post chain price. And what I'm looking at and what I'm kind of seeing is it almost looks like it's just well manipulation. Like I kind of like looked for transactions $10,000 or greater. And what you can see here is, somebody sold 31,500. Somebody here sold $23,808 worth of WPLS, right? And, it's kind of just this back and forth push and pull between whales. And it's kind of like just price manipulation because these whales want post chain at cheap prices. So that's kind of the narrative, and that's kind of what I'm seeing. So let's see if we can look further down. Like here today, there was another huge sale. Somebody sold 86,575 worth of WPLS, right? So that's roughly 1.4 billion post chain is they just completely just sold and dumped on the market. So, people that are the most concerned is what I'm reading are the people that were in the sacrifice, those that did the sacrifice because the initial sack rate was point 0001. So I think it was like three zeros and a one. So those are the people that are most concerned. Whereas me, I got into post chain after the sacrifice. So it was pretty much already kind of at that bottom floor level. And that's when I started like scooping up post chain, right? But for me, like what would cause me to be concerned about post chain? Number one, what would cause me to be concerned about post chain is if the trade volume as a whole just completely died down, right? We're getting 1.5 million in buys and 1.8 million in sales, and it's consistent day in and day out, which leads me to believe that this is a sought after crypto that people want. People want post chain. They want to trade on post chain. I would also be concerned if less and less projects did not want to build on post chain, but it's the quite opposite because more projects are coming onto post chain, more and new projects are popping up. People want to build on post chain because it's decentralized and it's Richard Hart is heading it up and he had like a lot of success with Hex. So that's kind of the narrative there. Now, the only thing for me that would be concerning is, of course, the SEC case. Like, if the SEC case was ruled against Richard, then that's probably for me, that's when I would have a cause for concern. But for me, I feel I'm bullish on post chain, long term future. It's that fork of Ethereum, but you can also transact that a fraction of a cost, and there's a lot of different narratives going on post chain, right? So, but again, like a lot of this, like we said, is purely just well manipulation because what they're trying to do is get you out of your bag so they can scoop up this post chain at cheap prices, right? So we may see like some more sell pressure over the next few days, right? Who knows, what the future holds, but that's kind of what I've been seeing. So it was interesting to see. But now, in the same breath, we have people buying up $24,500 worth of PLS in the same day, 14K, right? 16K, right? And let's see if we can scroll down. 19K. Somebody bought 23K. Yep, somebody bought 38,312 worth of PLS. So essentially, you get the point. It's right now it's just a well manipulation game, and they're just trying to like get people out of their bag so they can get it in at a cheaper price. So and it pushed down some because when I was looking a little bit earlier, we were sitting at 4 zeros and a 6, I believe, and now we kind of pushed a little bit further down to 4 zeros, 5, 8, 6, 7 for Pulsechain, right? Now looking with PulseDrip, it's kind of the same narrative because when PLS goes down, it's going to pull PDRIP down because they are tied together. So that's essentially kind of what was happening. And if we look at the PulseDrip price, $27.19 roughly, more buys than sales, 215 buys and 70 sales. Market cap still over 136 million, liquidity still holding strong. So, as in with any project, there's going to be some sales. Totally normal to sell, take profits, do what you need to do. But, for the most part, that is pretty much what I'm seeing. And so when PulseDrip goes down, which is tied to H2O, H2O is going to go down, right? So it's literally kind of the same thing. Right now, we are seeing some nice buys coming in for H2O, but looks like there was some. Looking here, let's see. Did we see a little bit of sell pressure? Yeah, looks like we did see some sell pressure. Somebody dumped, not too bad. I mean, a thousand worth of H2O, so that's $259, and then somebody sold 22K worth of H2O, so that's like $554. And then let's kind of scroll down a little bit more. There was a buy coming in for 210. So yeah, at the moment, it looks like again more buys than sales. So with H2O, because H2O was more or less the token that you should. Well, the narrative is you hold it and you get that higher, APR, that 200% APR, right? So looking here, the Faucet count, we're sitting at 1,206. So that's where we're sitting at. A little pullback again on the TVL in the garden. And again, that's probably directly attributed to the PLS price, right? So it's going to pull everything down there. And then as far as me right now with my PulseDrip faucet, here's kind of where I'm sitting. I am back up to that 1 PDRIP per day. And we'll continue to compound maybe a 24 and 4 strategy. And I've heard someone else, I think it was S Crypto, say maybe like a 26 and 4 strategy is another option. You figure out the best strategy for you, with this. But for me, like if I'm going to be hit with that drop, because anytime you claim, it drops to that 0.5%. So if I'm going to be hit with that, I want to be hit with that at least once a month. That's the narrative for me right now. And then looking at bonds, the bonds of, they're growing pretty well, right? So roughly 1,137 H2O I have accumulated over the last 14 days, and that's equivalent to $331 right now. So with these bonds, it should double. Yeah, the amount of bonds once the 200% kicks in, it should double to over 8,000, right? And what I plan to do is right now the plan is to once it gets done, claim it, take half of it, and move that back into the faucet because H2O is paired with PDRIP. So just take half of it and put it into the faucet. The other half, what I would intend to do is kind of a rinse repeat with the bonds. But we'll play it by ear. We'll kind of continue to look at the ecosystem and see kind of how things shake out. But right now, the plan would be to go back into the bonds, and rinse repeat and use this as a vehicle to essentially just like build up my faucet, right? I mean, it's a win-win because you don't have to invest additional capital if you don't want to. You just essentially just using H2O, going back into the system and kind of rinse repeat. Now, will I on the side, use some profits for and move that to PLS? Yeah, I plan to probably do that too, just to protect myself because you never know with these, with any protocol, you never know. So it's best to also, again, take some of those profits and move them aside. But, all in all, I'm pleased with this. Now, what I'd like to see, us move back in a positive direction with this PLS price. Yeah, most definitely. So we just have to play it by ear over the next week just to kind of see how things go, right? So, but I wanted to address that because the question was asked, and some people were getting like a little bit antsy about Pulsechain and what should we do? Is this it for for Pulsechain? And I'm like, guys, you gotta you gotta relax a minute because with any market, there's gonna be some pullback. Now, once that SEC case and Richard Hart case is over, and they, like a lot of these particular cases, they have been favoring, the crypto project because the SEC was out of bounds, if that makes sense. They weren't in their right. They're not supposed to be overseeing crypto in the first place. It's supposed to be CFTC, is my understanding. So maybe that's where they're kind of, that's where they're kind of messing themselves up. So I don't anticipate anything negative with Pulsechain. For me, I'm envisioning them winning the case and everybody just kind of moving forward. So that's for me that's pretty much it. I wanted to come on and kind of address that, and then kind of shouts out to my team. I sent you guys an airdrop last week, and I'll send out an airdrop on Friday as well. I think the main thing I look for is just make sure that you are continuing to build your faucet and you're actively compounding. That's what I look for. Like if you're doing that, then I'll send it over. And or those who have a little bit more, that have added like a little bit more, like I sent them off a bonus because they were actively adding to their faucet. So that's pretty much it, guys. That was kind of on my mind and I wanted to address it. And and somebody actually thanked me because I we had like a mature conversation about it, and we were kind of going back and forth. Nothing malicious or mean was said. We're just saying, hey, this is what I think. And then they would come back and say, hey, this is what I kind of think was going on. But end of the day, it's your investment. You do you. You do what's best for you with your investment, right? With your Pulsechain. Your Pulsechain or any crypto investment. All right. So thanks for listening, and thanks for stopping by.